Hello, and thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it. This month, I would like to discuss mythology. Is it just a myth, a legend, or a story that has been passed down through the ages, or is it the magic that happens between the two worlds? So, when contemplating what to write for this podcast, I meditated and I asked a clear quartz point what would be the topic of this podcast. Sat quietly and I heard the word Excalibur in my mind, clear as anything. I love it when that happens. So random, something comes to me and I'm like, what? And again it came, Excalibur. This is not the first time that I have heard this word. I have heard it in meditation and seen the sword in the stone in my mind's eye when I was at the top of the tour in Glastonbury, and I saw it really clearly. I even booked a trip to Wales afterwards because I read a little bit about it and was told in the information that I gathered that King Arthur, his legend was mainly in Wales. So I organised a retreat and we trudged off to Wales and basically didn't find much information about the legend or the myth, if I'm honest, and I just dismissed the whole thing. Although while we were there, I did see a beautiful statue of King Arthur in the stone, and it was mentioned quite a few times. And on reflection, my time in Wales was truly magical. I got to meet my future great-great-granddaughter at the top of Mount Snowdon, and she was called Alicia. We did a meditation up there, and totally unexpected, I had this image of this wonderful, beautiful child coming towards me, and she told me that she was my great-great-granddaughter. And I don't think I'm going to be meeting her either. I don't think I'll meet her in physical form. I've only met her in the ethers, and if the timeline goes the way it's expected to, I'm sure she's going to be here when I'm not. So when we were in Wales the following morning after meeting Alicia, I was due to take everybody on to an island that is said to be the true Isle of Avalon. Again, in my quest to understand more about King Arthur and Excalibur and Avalon and all the myths and legends that are out there and all the different versions of events of this myth. But the weather was too bad and we decided not to go. Well, in fact, it actually was cancelled. The gentleman wouldn't take us across the water to the isle because he said it was unsafe. So I meditated once again thinking, well, we're here in Wales, what are we supposed to do? And Alicia came to me again and said to go to the forest where I would meet and see some fairies in a waterfall. Okay. Fortunately, the people that were with me know that I do converse during the ethers and during meditation, and most of the time I try to follow what I am told. So they were on board and we all went in search of a forest close by and found one and walked through the forest with absolutely no sign of a waterfall at all. So I was like, oh, okay, fair enough. But as we neared the completion of the walk that was designated in the forest to people and sightseers, then one of the young ladies who was with me said she could hear the fall of water. So she shimmied down the banks of what was in the forest, and she actually found a place hidden behind some trees and found a place for us all to go and sit on the edge of this magnificent waterfall. It was an absolutely beautiful day and we all managed to get a glimmer of this beautiful waterfall and the lights that were dancing on the water. And I heard Alicia say to me, they are fairies. They are consciousness in the form of light. Speak to them, she said. And so I did from my mind. And they responded by moving and making shapes for me. It was like being in a fairy tale. And it was quite nice to have other people there experiencing it with me. It really was quite extraordinary and very uplifting and a beautiful experience that I and the other ladies all witnessed and experienced together. So when I started to play with the light and my energy and demeanor became really playful, so did the lights, and they would be moving in the atmosphere as well as on the water. And when I asked them to come closer, they came closer. When I asked them to retreat, they retreated. It was such a special thing to witness and be part of. Now, this is taking me miles away from Excalibur, but you'll see what I'm trying to get here is, are these myths, or is this the way that magic of the two worlds go together? And if I'm honest, this really was a truly magical experience, not just for me, but for everybody. So perhaps the connection with Excalibur was there during my visit to Wales, but I just somehow didn't collate it in my mind and understand it because, like I've just said, the events were truly magical. Because this word has come back to me again in this podcast, or to create this podcast, obviously there's more for me to know because the word is back again and it's not left me. So I still have more to learn. Maybe I just have to dig deeper and know what is being said to me. And the podcast title that came to me after I asked, why am I writing this about Excalibur? And they said the title of the podcast should be Myth or Magic. And this is what I'm trying to discern on my journey with this. Is this all just a myth or legends or stories that have been told by our ancestors? Or is this an entry into a magical world where the two, spirit world and physical world, collide and unite? Okay, so my first port of call was once again to research on the internet, and I found some more interesting information. So according to Wikipedia, Arthur obtained the British throne by pulling a sword from an anvil sitting atop a stone that appeared in a churchyard on Christmas Eve. Now, this is important, churchyard. Please remember this because I'm going to explain what happens later. So this was foretold. In other words, the removing of the sword from the stone was foretold by Merlin, who was said to be a French poet and prophecy. He prophesied that the act of pulling the sword could not be done except by a true king, meaning the divinely appointed king or true heir to the land. Now, when I was reading this, I personally found that this was very interesting, that the legend is suggesting that the stone had some sort of intelligence or consciousness that could determine a worthy leader. And I sense that the worthy leader is someone who can hear the messages of the earth through their heart. So, okay, I've learned a little bit more. When Arthur was at the brink of his death, he enigmatically orders his surviving knight Griflet to cast Excalibur into a nearby lake. After 2 failed attempts to deceive Arthur, since Griflet felt that the sword should not be thrown away, he finally does comply with the wounded king's request, and as he threw the sword into the lake, a woman's hand emerges from the lake to catch the Excalibur. So I believe that the story is that Arthur slayed the Anglo-Saxons and saved England, and this Excalibur had a life of its own and gave the power to whoever was holding it. I then decide to meditate to see if I can understand better what this myth is saying. So I am told to meditate to meet the Lady of the Lake and ask why I keep hearing the word Excalibur. So I chose 2 clear quartz points and placed the web of light over my face and soon transported my awareness to the lake. I asked where the lake was, but I was told it was irrelevant, really. It's just a lake. Okay, fair enough. I'm here by a lake. The relevancy of the lake was that it was an analogy of consciousness. The lake was the consciousness, a portal into the inner world, a bridge of the outer and the inner worlds. I was told to sit down and stare into the lake in my meditation, which I did, and it reminded me very much of the water that was at the bottom of the waterfall. And the Lady of the Lake, who was stood next to me in my meditation, said, "What can you see?" And I said I could see the reflection of the beautiful mountains and landscape around. And she said, "It's just an illusion. Move the water and the image is gone. And yet the mountains are still there. The lake is a reflection of the mind's eye. Look deeper into the water. What do you see?" "Nothing. I just see the murky water and the movement of the water." After a short period of time, my mind settled for seeing nothing, and just allowed the gentle movement of the water to soothe it. And then I saw the arm come out of the lake, and I knew it to be the arm of Mother Earth in one of her many guises. She fully materialized and sat with me on the edge of the lake. She told me that the water is consciousness, a connection with the inner and outer world, as previously had been said when I was with the being that was guiding me to do this. You are made of water, she said. You're made of consciousness. The message in this legend is saying that Mother Earth put her hand out of the water to reclaim the power that had been given to Arthur until another worthy person was to have the power given to them. She does not give her power away to everyone and will reclaim it when needed to ensure it is given to the right people. So I asked, what is Excalibur all about? And she said that the Excalibur is a responsibility of instant manifestation. It is focus and direction of awareness in the form of light from the tip of the sword to where you project it, very much like a laser. She took me to the sword in the stone. I tried to pull the sword out of the stone. I was pulling really hard and nothing happened. She said, that is the first lesson when aiming to regain your power. It's effortless, no trying involved. You need to allow everything in your life to flow with absolute no resistance to what may be. Your mind has already created the thought that it's impossible to take this sword out of this stone, so you are aiming to achieve the impossible. Or so your mind thinks. But when you do manage to do it, you have seemingly achieved the impossible. Try again, she said. So I did. And as I did, the sword started to move. It came out, but then it got stuck. She said, this is because it wants to ensure that you can control your thoughts and not be stuck in old patterns and maybe hindering a smooth flow of energy. When you doubt, your sword will get stuck. Your focus will get stuck. The art of manifestation will get stuck. When you assume, your sword will get stuck. And when you hesitate, your sword will stick. This is another lesson that the sword is teaching you, Jackie. I took a moment to realign my mind and know that I can do this. I can do this. I centered my focus, shook off all my doubts on my ability to be a warrior for Mother Earth. The sword started to leave the stone like coming out of melting butter, and I started to get really happy. But the tip of the sword got stuck in the stone. Oh no, why has the tip got stuck? And she said the tip has got stuck because you are celebrating before completion of the task. So if you celebrate the manifestation before it's manifested, well then it won't manifest. You have assumed that the sword is yours, and you have done so before you have completed the removal of the sword from the stone. Oh my goodness, yes I have. Okay, so here we go again, and I focused, breathed deeply, eliminated doubt, opened my heart to know I am worthy, asked the sword to work through me, and ta-da, the sword came out. I held the sword in my hands, high over my head, and said, thank you, thank you, thank you. Your journey with the sword has only just begun, she said. Now you have to use it wisely and remember the lessons being taught. Focus from your heart. Be sure and don't doubt. Never assume until it is in the manifest form. Be grateful and open. Aim your focus always for the greater good and not just for self-gain or just for others. The sword has to be balanced, remember, for you and for me. Win for you, as in the other people or the higher good, and win for you too, me too. So it's you and them. Use it wisely, my child, and call on me if ever you need help. The sword belongs to you in the ethers. This is the start of your journey. The Excalibur will teach you how to achieve the seemingly impossible. Wield the sword to cut away the weeds of your mind. the emotional debris that is clinging to your space from the past and help you see clearly. The warrior is not needed in the physical realm as much these days, but more in the mental realm to purify focus and untangle the mind. Use the Excalibur in meditation with purpose and poise. So I said, how will I know when to use it? Life is the external world. In the external world will guide you. It will guide you to work in the internal world to affect the external world. For you and for everyone. Be observant, she said, be awake, and you will know when it is time to wield the sword. That was the end of the meditation, and I'm sort of sitting there going, oh, okay, well, bring it on. And I'm in my mind's eye, I'm holding the Excalibur, and I'm waiting now for something to happen. Of course, nothing did initially, but what happened over the next few days really shocked me. So the external world started to truly amaze me because I hadn't told anybody about this experience of my meditation, and that the Excalibur is the art of manifestation. It's the power that is given to you. And if you work from your heart and do everything that she said, then you can effect a massive change in the external world as well as in your own internal world. So I called round to my daughter's house. And she was making props. She has an event company and she was making props. And she said, do you have some spare time, Mum? I could do with some help here. I'm making some props for a future event. So, okay, what are you making? I'm making Excalibur swords. What? What? Yes, I've got an event coming up and I'm making swords that look like the Excalibur. Oh my gosh. She knew nothing of what had been happening. And I was like, okay, so the external world now seems to be bringing things to me. So then I went back home and I received a text message regarding a workshop for a dowsing event that I was going to on the following Sunday, which was up in the Lake District, and they'd written a new book. So when the text message came through, I clicked on the new book that they'd written, and what is the image on the front of the book? But King Arthur with the chalice and the Excalibur in his hand. Now this is getting a little bit, oh my goodness, wow. The two worlds are definitely intertwining, and I am really, really grateful that this is happening. So I went to the workshop and I met Gary Bickcliffe and Caroline Hoare, who have delivered their version of what the ley line and the land energy is saying to them. They've found and documented a new lay of land, which is called the Holy Axis, and this Holy Axis line runs across the neck of Britain. And they believe it is a modern day pilgrimage. It is linked to the Arthurian energy and the goddess energy. And now I understand that the energy of Arthur, Merlin, and the Excalibur in legend are all energy frequencies that are in the earth plane, in the earth, on these ley lines, which I'm going to do another podcast on because I find this just absolutely incredible. We know about the energy in crystals, and now I'm finding that there are these magnificent lines of energy running through the earth and having a great effect. Now they're honored in Feng Shui, and they've been honored in quantum physics as being this fifth dimension energy, which is running in straight lines through the earth. And Gary Bickcliffe and Caroline Hoare are talking about this new one that they've discovered called the Holy Axis, with the vibration of the Arthurian energy leading to the goddess energy. And they then went on to say that the Arthurian energy overshadows kings and people who are meant to be doing great things. And so does the Merlin energy. So they said that you can tap into this consciousness through the megalith stones and the energy portals known as nodes. And I have been given a map of where this energy line is, and I am going to learn more about it and actually go visit these places and travel the Holy Axis to connect to the lineage that is linked to our ancestors. So when I started reading his book, he explains in his book that shamans used to travel through the astral plane, and they would the light that they would project by doing this astral projection was a straight beam of light, the shortest way between 2 points, and that is what has created these lays in the world, which are straight lines, and they lead to burial places, because apparently our ancestors, our shamans, used to ask for the best place to bury the people that have passed to help their souls ascend. So as they've been projecting their awareness through the astral plane, these energy lines have gone into the earth and connected to the earth's energy, and they've built churches and sacred ground where they've been told by the earth to do so. And in China, a lot of people that follow the feng shui have also found that by following the lay of the land, which is exactly what he's speaking about, and building the houses and their towns on them, that they've grown, they've had good crops, they've had clean water, they've had good lives, happy lives in harmony, and that all of this is now becoming more aware to us as we awaken to realize that the land has got places where we can go heal ourselves, because a lot of these monasteries that were built on these nodes were hospitals in the past. I'm just at the next part of the story where I'm preparing now to start to go on these pilgrimage to feel the energy of the land, and I'm sure that I'm going to be able to invite some of you to come with me, but at the moment it's all in the preparation stage. My life has become truly magical because after visiting the lay in Shap and going to the megalith to go into the Neolithic stone, I have noticed a big difference in my energy field. I feel more earthed. I feel more centered. I'm beginning to recognize that the two worlds do collide, and there are certain places within the world where we can go and heighten and sharpen our awareness of more. And I remember Gary saying to me, well, you think you get it now, wait until you've been to these energy spots and see how much you get it. Then I hope you understand what that means. So before I leave you today, I typed into the internet, is there a real Excalibur sword? And I found this, and it says, and now archaeologists have somewhat mirrored the fabled tale. After excavating a 700-year-old weapon that was found embedded in a rock at the bottom of a lake, the 14th century sword was discovered in the Verbus River near the village of Rakovice. It's spelled Rakovice, so I'm not sure how to say that. Rakovice, in the north of Bosnia and Herzegovina. Anyway, I can't pronounce it. But apparently archaeologists have actually found the fabled sword. So what I feel all this is saying to me is to open your mind and allow the seemingly impossible to be achieved. And then make your own mind up whether these fables are just stories and have no relevance, or if it's their ancestors talking to us and letting us know about the magic that's out there when we really connect to Mother Earth. Okay, so I hope this has whetted your appetite, and if you do want to join me on any of these wonderful excavations and adventures that I'm going to be going on, I'd love to hear from you. So after having said that, I'd like to wish you a great day, and I will hopefully connect again soon. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care, shamans.